Yeah, and I don't know where Anthony is. He should be on by now.
Okay, we're live.
All right.
All right, here we go.
It's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bumping through your broadcast. Grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bumping through your broadcast. Grab a chair, fill your glass.
Hey, welcome to the Really Charlie Podcast with my co-host Paula Young. We are here to talk to you about fentanyl facts and stories, and I really excited to be here, and especially with my guest here. She is amazing person doing some amazing work, and we are doing this podcast on behalf of her son, Andrew. Amazing man who passed away through fentanyl poisoning, and so we do this for him, and we do this to try to save lives every day, looking to save someone's life with fentanyl and all the dangerous opioids that are out there rather. And Paula is a great advocate for this area and for the world because some of the things she's doing, there's not too many people in the world that are doing it courageously and how do I want to say this? Steady, right? You know, you're doing it well. You know, people have to have some stamina and have to have some I don't want to say, well, commitment. You have that commitment, and I'm really proud of what you're doing. And keep it up. You and Phil and everyone else that's tied into Achieve Greatness 88.org, which I'm going to put on the screen right now. So Paula, how's your day? What's going on?
Well, today I'm hoping to have a guest speaker on. I'm just waiting to see if he's going to come on. He's been on before, as we all know, Anthony. He's from Indiana. He probably got tied up, but that's okay. So today I think I want to talk about one of the bills that has been set forth. So, okay. Charlie, I sent it to you. I don't know if you can post it, but the bill is actually called HR 467, and it's to schedule fentanyl a level 1. So what that means is basically if you have fentanyl and you are caught with fentanyl, what's going to happen is when the prosecutors try to take this to court, because it is now classified as a level 1, and you know this, Charlie, being in law enforcement, that person's going to do jail time. There's no doubt about it. Especially if the person passes away from fentanyl poisoning, as what's continuing to happen so often today. I think one of the biggest things is, this is one of the things that I am pushing for. And the reason I'm pushing for this, and the person who put this forth, just to let everybody know, was Congressman Bill Keating. He's the one that set it forth, and I sent it to your email. And, if you look at it, he did this back in May.
Okay.
May. Here we are, January, going into February, and it's just sitting there. So it passed Congress unanimously. It went through, no problem. But now it's sitting in Senate because now, as we continue to see, unfortunately, with our legislators, the priorities are not there for them.
Yeah.
So how do we make it so that the priority needs to be there for them? I say this all the time. I understand that there's a lot of things going on. I get it. But do we need to teach you about how to prioritize things? Because this is a level 5 alarm going off. And it has been so for 2 years, going on 3. When we're continuing to lose 300 a day, that's about 9,000 a month. But yet you continue to hear nothing. Why aren't more folks screaming from the rooftops about this? Why?
and it's sad because just that number that you said, 300 a day. Um, and I seen the commercial with the what's her the Republican candidate, number two candidate, the female. She had
Oh,
there was an ad, and
Nikki Haley or
Miss
something.
Haley, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so they were talking about how many people are dying over fentanyl poisoning or an overdose, and it's overwhelming that the numbers are surpassing the number of victims in World War II.
Correct.
Amazing. All right, Paul, I'm gonna look for our flyer. I'm gonna attach it. I just gotta find out where I saved it, and then I'll put it on the screen.
I sent it to your email, Charlie.
Yeah, and I have it, so I downloaded it. And now I'm just trying to open it and send it to StreamYard. This and I mean, I always liked Keaton. I always liked him. He came out of the woodwork and introduced himself to me, and also gave me a citation for the American Legion. And I thought it was real special, something he had to do, but he got involved with it, and
Right.
And I appreciate that. I really do.
Well, I think one of the biggest things, I know I'm always fixing my hair on this thing where every time I'm on, because somebody said to me the other day, they said, every time I see you, you're like fixing your hair. Yeah, because I'm looking at myself. And you know how us women are. I think it's important, but I think we've gotten to a point where, in 2023, Achieve Greatness was all about let's do advocacy, boots on the ground, grassroots movement. 2024, Achieve Greatness is still the same, but now we're adding the, seriousness of saving lives. We are literally
Yes.
in a battle to save lives. That's what this is about. And the community leaders and the community folks who continue to say that there isn't a problem, or they don't want to thrust themselves into this, well, then you become the problem. You're not the solution.
Exactly.
When you continue to sit there and make excuses, again, I'm going to quote, and again, as everybody knows, Achieve Greatness, myself, we are bipartisan. I don't care what platform you have, what party you stand for. Non-action is no longer an excuse.
Yeah.
Enough.
So true. There's it's I don't know. It's like how do you not listen to this? How do you not listen to the loss of lives? And everything else that's involved in it. For someone not to listen to it's mind-boggling. When you first were informing me about everything that was involved in this and the loss of lives, I was like, wow, that's just crazy. It's just crazy. I'm just shocked about the amount of people we lose in this area for many different things, but the poisoning, fentanyl, the fentanyl and opioid deaths are just overwhelming.
Yes. Yes, because it's in everything. It is in everything now. It doesn't matter if you are getting coke, meth, marijuana, whatever you're getting, fentanyl is in it. That is statistically proven. Every county in Massachusetts, you can call the health department, you can call whoever you want, they will tell you that. I was on a call today with a task force, and basically they said, we continue to hear about the overdoses, but stop calling it an overdose. If fentanyl is in it, it is not an overdose, it is a poisoning.
Yes.
Even if that person suffers from substance abuse disease, and I know, Charlie, we've been trying to get some folks who are in that field to come on and talk.
Mm-hmm.
Even if a person suffers from substance abuse disease and they're going to go get whatever it is that their choice,
Yeah.
and they don't know fentanyl is in it, That is a poisoning. And even if they do know fentanyl is in it, because that's another thing we're hearing a lot about is people who their bodies are accustomed to the fentanyl, but they're not accustomed to the lethal dose of fentanyl. They're not
Yeah,
accustomed to when there's xylazine in it. They're not accustomed to when it's carfentanil. So, stop calling it an overdose and call it what it should be called.
exactly. And it seems like um, they're just not. I don't know. It's a tragic delay on their part, right? Like you said, it was introduced in May. There it is. It's January, and not too long, and just a few more weeks. It's going to be February, so we're closer to being a year
Mm-hmm.
from its proposal for introduction, and that's sad because could you imagine all the cases that came up from, let's just say, from June until now?
Yeah.
A tremendous
Yeah.
amount of cases. We could apply
Yeah.
this to it. All right.
And this is exactly it. And this is why one of the biggest things I'm learning, we are learning with all of this is, government, it runs like molasses. That's what I'm constantly told. But again, that continues to be an excuse because I think the platform that we have, and I think you will agree, Charlie, you want to come and talk to us? Come on,
Yes.
come and talk to us. We will have you on the show. We will have you talk to us. We want you to come on because we want you to explain to us and the folks in the community why it is that certain things are not being done. Because we can speculate all we want, but if you can sit here and come on and have the wherewithal to come and speak, we will listen to you. We're not going to sit here and bash people. That's not what you and I are about. But constantly we keep asking those in local and government positions to come and speak, and no one's offered up. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, it's amazing. And Paula, I'm going to do something here. All right. That's the old one. It's the one I have. It's
That's the old
asking me, yeah, it's asking me to change it to a
I sent you the
PNG.
new one
Yeah, it's
with the
sending me,
new.
it's telling me to save it as PNG or JPEG. So I got to do that. But if I do that, it looks kind of unprofessional for me to seem like I'm being distracted, and I don't want to do that. I'm
Well,
gonna try to.
we can put up our we can put up our website, not a problem, until we get that fixed, and then we can put it out there. I know you've been doing it with a new barcode, but again, this is where we're at. Here we are. We've been talking for quite some time now. You've had this podcast for quite some time. We've had some amazing people who have come on and shared their stories, including people that have been doing this on a professional level. And you hear the same constant thing over and over again. So when are we going to get to the point that the narrative is going to change? Because it continues to be, it's kind of like the mouse in that circle where he's going round and round and round all the time, and it's doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Well, that's not how it works. If you are in Congress, Senate, state legislature, you have the power to make a difference. You have the power to make change. I can't do that. I can't write legislation. You can't do it. They can. This is why they were put into the position they were put in. And if it comes to the point of where they are not listening to folks, then guess what? It's an election year for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, basically, I'm changing, and I have changed quite a bit based on the stance of a lot of people the no, no stance on no stance that some people are kind of doing, and I'm changing my vote. I mean, almost there's people I voted for years, and I just stopped voting for them based
Mm-hmm.
on what they have done in 2022 and 2023, and even right now to this current time. I just said I will not vote for them again or participate in anything that they're doing, only because I just can't stand for it anymore.
Right.
Usually,
Well,
I would,
our vote makes a difference, Charlie. You know
yeah.
this. I mean, sometimes these people have this misconception, and maybe they need to go back into history where, oh, well, it's only one person. It's not going to make a difference. Really?
Mhm.
It really? Should I pull up history for you and show you where one vote did make a difference?
Yeah, it does. There's a reason why people cry, I want to recount. I want to recount. Oh, yeah, you want to recount because the numbers are very close, but when you think of it, when they're that close and you're asking for a recount, it's probably those, 1 to 50 people that you decided that you didn't want to talk to, or didn't want to sit at the table with, for whatever reason. 50 to 100 votes means a lot. And then that's when that one vote counts.
Right.
As I spread the word, you spread the word that so and so isn't doing this. It may amount to 50 to 200 people, and that's one vote. That's one
Right.
vote, one
Yeah.
one
And I
vote
think
that's influential, right?
correct. And I understand the concept of, sometimes those in certain positions feel that they are sitting on a pedestal and they can treat people any way that they please. Well, one comment I use all the time is God don't like ugly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And many times he has no problem taking you off that pedestal.
Mm-hmm. Quickly. There was that post where I put it up maybe a few weeks ago, and God will take you off that pedestal as soon as today and tomorrow, and that'll be the end of it.
Yep, absolutely. And we've suffered, there's been a lot of tragedy here in the South Coast, unfortunately, with so many car accidents having occurred, people passing away from those accidents. And then most recently, I'm sorry,
Bless you.
thank you. Most recently, the student from Greater New Bedford Voc, who
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately just passed away. So when you have trauma like this that continues to happen in a community, and now you have fentanyl that is also encompassing that, and then you turn on the TV and you see a war here and a war there, and you see, other things that are going on. The PTSD and the mental health of people it's struggling right now. And I know it
Mm-hmm.
is. I had a conversation with someone today, and this person, he's actually a pastor. and
Mm-hmm.
and we happened to be on a call together, a Zoom call, and afterwards he said, hey, give me a call. And I did. He goes, I think I'm going to do the Paula Young. And I said, what's that? He goes, I'm going to start throat punching people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
you know it's just it's you're starting to it's starting to be a difficult teeter of trying to really understand folks, and the common sense is out the window. That doesn't even exist anymore. But I think when you're talking about so many things that are occurring right now in our own community, all we're trying to do is elevate a platform so that we don't continue to have these traumatic events, so that another family is not burying their child and having to go pick out a casket. That's why we're doing this. I'm not doing this to be on the 5 o'clock news every day, because you don't see me on there now. And
Mm-hmm.
whatever I do, as you know, Charlie, and so many others, I'm not posting what I do. I don't
Yeah.
post anything until it's completed, because I'm not looking for clout. That's not what I'm doing here. We are doing this to save lives. We are doing this because we do not want you to be us. And I don't know how much more I can say of that. Even in the school system, As you know, just getting into the school department, the schools, to talk to the kids, to educate the kids, has been a battle.
Yeah.
And now the superintendent, who is now officially the superintendent, he has not been receptive at all. He has not been. And what does that tell you? What does that tell you?
Yeah, that's too. You know, maybe. I got to give him the benefit of the doubt because of with some of the things, amazing things I've seen him do. So we'll try it again very soon.
Maybe you need to try then,
Yeah,
because I would have thought that I could have at least gotten a one-on-one with him, even
yeah,
5-10 minute phone call, especially
yeah.
because of his name. And that didn't happen.
Yeah, it's we're definitely gonna I'm gonna do that too. I'm gonna reach out also and
Well, you have a lot more power than I do in the city. And and it's interesting because someone said that to me not too long ago. They said, Paula, what you need to understand is that although you're doing all this great work and you're out in the street, your boots on the ground every day, the problem is that you're not from the community.
mhm,
That's the problem. So when you do things, you have to go with someone from the community that is well known and respected, because then people will actually listen to you and really elevate the platform you're trying to have.
exactly. What I'll do is yeah, I'll talk to you off camera when we have a chance. The
Yeah.
you know, but we have a good event coming up. We need to invite them to
We
that
do.
event and get them here on board and just to see what we're involved in and and go from there. So, but meanwhile, you talked about the vibe that is going on. We There's so much things that go on that kind of flatten people's ambition, right?
Yes.
And that's so contagious because one thing after another, and like you said, PTSD. I've seen it from simple things from people at work, and it just kind of drags on. You try to stay motivated, and it could be just walking down the street. It could be local meetings that I go to. I'm saying, wow, man, things are supposed to be better in this environment. You
Right.
join things, you get around, and you surround things around certain people. You have a circle of friends, as they call it, and that's supposed to be your upbeat, your good vibe. And but I got to say one thing though. This this is achieve greatness 88 August has been a good vibe for me, and I just wanted to let you know that
Thank you.
this is something that I look forward to um, on a weekly basis, daily basis, really.
Well, because we're bringing forth, education. We're bringing forth awareness, and when we do speak, we speak facts. We're not, we're not grabbing things from the sky and putting us out there and talking to everyone who's listening to us on every platform just because we want to talk. We're doing this because you're helping to elevate the conversation to save lives. And if people don't understand that, then maybe they need to have a conversation with us and come on the podcast. I mean, hey, next week we have an amazing guest speaker next week. I sometimes I even shock myself at how these people tell me, yes, absolutely, I will be on your podcast.
Yeah.
It is, and I know you're going to put something out about her. I did ask for a bio, but it is a retired Border Patrol director. 30 years almost she put in Border Patrol, and her stories are out of this world. I mean,
Man.
what we see and hear on the news is, let's just say, if you're not going to tune in next week, you will regret it. You will
Yeah.
be kicking yourself in the butt, because she is bringing facts. She's bringing her experience of being in this for 30 years, and she's bringing, as the young kids call it, receipts.
Hmm. It's
And I
it's
sent you her information also
okay.
for you to pull up.
All
Yes.
right. I'll do that. I'll create a reel for us to put it on social media and kind of blast it between our logo and what we're tied in. And I actually have the um, podcast created. I got to do it 5 days before it. So, but meanwhile, I'll actually start creating a reel. I may have an opportunity tomorrow to do it during my break time. So
Yeah.
as soon as tomorrow, I'll make that announcement.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the biggest things that people are going to have a takeaway from this is the fact that, when the news media is sitting here saying it's the immigrants that are bringing this in, it's the illegal immigrants. Well, when you hear her story, you're not going to be making that comment anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say much more, because I think it's imperative that people tune in and listen to hear from her. Because again, this is someone who gave 30 years of her life to this. And she is speaking again from facts. She is speaking from the person who was right there on the border, seeing it all every day for 30 years.
So important. When you get a narrative like that and you post it and make it known, because you can't get any better than that. There's someone in the trenches, someone that's been doing it for that long. You just think back, 30 years, what you were doing up until now, and she's been doing it that long. Um, it's amazing. I remember starting my career and some of the things that I had in the beginning, and then later on to see what is on display or what is being used within the local police.
Correct.
I say, wow, that's ways, and we have come a long way, and I'm pretty sure she could say the same thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I think her perspective is a little, it's very eye-opening when you hear from someone who is, again, in the trenches, in the battleground, boots on the ground, as she was. Because as you know, with the media, I mean, I've been in many conversations and phone calls with people where they say, we don't even know to trust the media anymore. Are they giving us facts? Are they giving us what they want? Are they lying every day? Like, how can you even trust the media when you hear so many different narratives and each channel you change?
yeah,
There's no consistency. So when you don't have consistency in something, how can you then expect people to believe what they're hearing? You can't. So that's why with us and this platform, we are consistent. We're not saying something different. We're not saying that the sky is not blue when it is. We are bringing facts to the table. We are bringing what the CDC is stating, and the DEA and the FBI and the Department of Justice. There has been quite a few busts from the Department of Justice just in Washington, D.C. and Maryland. And that's amazing. It's great. And there was just a bust here in New Bedford. I mean, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the bust that just happened here in New Bedford, which was the third or the fourth one now, related to fentanyl.
hmm and it's I for all the investigators that are out there, being law enforcement, being the district attorney, being even people from the community, because they do get involved. You only know where it's coming from when based on people in the community that are telling you it. And you know, 5 stars. I gotta say 5 stars. Right now, I'll say 3.5 stars, right? Because you need a conviction. You need to do everything comes out later on, and but we talk about it every week. How a dealer doesn't have any doesn't have the heart or concern or sympathy for someone that ODs or
Correct.
dies. They don't. It's just a money thing. It's just a financial thing that they're doing, and
Correct.
so why not take that away from them and let
Yeah.
them sit behind bars for many years? Enough of this 4-year bid, 6-year bid. Send them away for a while. Because we never get our own. We never get the people that we lost.
Right.
We're not going to get them back. So let's return the favor and have them sit behind bars for a while.
Right. One thing I tell people when I speak is I say, locking up drug dealers won't bring back Andrew, but it
Mhm.
might save yours. And
True.
this is exactly why, we need to stand up to them. We need to do what needs to be done to prevent the 300 a day that is continuing to occur. Because, like you said, and this, especially from being in law enforcement, and next week when we have Jen on Border Patrol, she's going to say it. They don't care about you and I. They could care less. They don't care who you are. They don't care your stance in life. They don't care what you have in the driveway. They don't care. All they care about is continuing to send your children an emoji that you know nothing about, whether it's a palm tree, a wedding cake, a clover, because each one substantiates to something where then your child will go and meet them at the corner and get the drug of choice.
Mm-hmm.
And parents don't know that. I was in a meeting not too long ago with Phil and Marcus for a basketball event we're going to start doing for the kids coming up now on the 21st. I think you saw the flyer at Andrew McCoy State Rec Center.
Yes.
And, they didn't even know about the emojis. They were like, what do you mean? And I brought them the pamphlet and I showed them. They were like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I said, what, like, this is what I'm saying is that, when the schools come and they sit here and they say to you, well, we're already teaching this in health ed. We're doing this as a curriculum. We're talking about fentanyl. Bullshit. Bullshit. And I'm going to say it out loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you know what? You're not. Because you're not talking about it the way I will. You're talking about it in the little snippet. You're maybe showing something, but you're not getting into it like I do as a parent who lost a child. You're not. And don't sit here and tell me you are, because if you were, then New Bedford wouldn't be at 143% overdose rate, which was the article that was just in the New Bedford Light.
Mm-hmm.
8 and 9-year-olds vaping.
Yeah.
These are not numbers I'm making up. They're not numbers you're making up, Charlie. This is what's facts.
Yeah. It's the one thing that I try to tell people that some people tied in different organizations or different city or town venues. Everything's a PowerPoint, and
Yes.
PowerPoint is not something that most common people don't want to sit with a PowerPoint. They just don't want to go through that.
No.
But since we were kids, right? If mom, dad, anybody, in your family said, look, it's story time, we sat down and listened to a story.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that everyone wanted to do growing up, and with adults, it's the same way.
Correct.
Everyone wants to hear a story, so why not listen to a story coming from Paula and Phil Young and the many, many people across this nation that want to tell their story, but a true story, something with sincerity, something with some credibility, not something that you're, cut and pasting all over from the internet to bring this PowerPoint presentation to 50 to 100 people. Maybe if you have an impact person like Paula standing there and telling her story, Phil there telling his story. All right, now what happens is that travels. Hey, that young family is amazing. You need to go listen to them. You need to listen to them. Or, hey, that story resembles what Paul is going through and Phil's going through. You know
Right.
what? You should open up. You should speak to some more people about it. And today I had a conversation, and haven't met this man. I actually seen him, but I heard some amazing stories of a young man that's doing things on a regular basis, on a routine basis, and trying to save lives. So I'm going to get to meet him soon, because this is someone that I would like to come on and talk and tell a story, and what he's going through. And it was like, it's amazing. Some of the things I heard, and this was third hand, you know. Hi, Christy. How you doing? Welcome aboard. It's another young lady that I would like to hear her story on the podcast, So,
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, Charlie, is that, the people, when I speak and I do presentations, I have one coming up on Friday. I do have a video that I show, and it's about 5 minutes long. But after that, I speak.
mhm.
There is no more. Let me show you that, because you lose people, like you
Yeah.
said, you lose them if everything is a PowerPoint. I mean, look, I can put up statistics, and yeah, that might be important for that moment. But what's more important is people hearing truly going on in the Commonwealth, what's happening across the United States. And they're hearing it not just from me, but they know that it's occurring, because this is not something I'm making up. This is not something you're making up. This is
True.
something that continues to be a huge crisis in the United States. And at what point, I mean, seriously, at what point do folks say, how can we help? What do we need to do? And that's not happening. It's not. I mean, I had a conversation with someone just yesterday, a reporter from a very pretty big newspaper. And he said to me, he said, Paula, do you think it's because the congressmen and senators just really don't know the difference, or they really don't know the impact of fentanyl? And I had to take a moment, because I'm like, are you serious, or are you
Mhm.
kidding? Or are you kidding with this question? And I said, come on, don't make excuses for them. Everyone knows fentanyl. They know what it does. They know what's happening. They know what it's in. They know it's in marijuana, gummy bears, vape pens. They know. Don't give them more excuses than what they already generate.
Yeah. As families are victimized, right, through this this ordeal, as people are going through different things. Now they want to do something, and they want to make it hurt. You want it to be heard, like what you're doing, right? You wanted this. You want to make this known. So we talked about the deaths of 300 a day, right? Chances are that 290 families are trying to reach out to the senators, to the politicians, just like you are. They're trying to do that. They want to. So you have letters and phone calls and different things that are going to these politicians. So they are aware of it, because I know, um, I would be doing the same thing. And we see it. You see it. You know, how many families that you connected through social media that
Yeah.
you're just saying, hey, checking in, like you say, you're just checking in.
Yes.
And all those families have reached out to different people, and from their state house to from the local level to the state. You know, they're trying to do something, and in some cases, the federal level also. They're trying to do something. So that's just a small percentage. You know that. I know that. It's a small percentage of people trying to reach out. There's some people that are reaching out, but we just don't know who they are. So we can't give them the excuses that they don't know, because they do. They do. And
Right.
the
And I
secretary.
think
Go
right.
ahead.
Right. And I think what also is happening, Charlie, is that, a lot of these parents who are doing nonprofits like we are here in Massachusetts, one of the things that a lot of them have said to me, the ones who have been doing this for 5 years, obviously, unfortunately, because of losing their children 5 years and plus, they tell me all the time, they said, Paula, this is draining. This is draining, but don't stop. Don't give up the fight, because they're going to do everything possible to tear you down. That's just what they do. But you cannot stop. You have to continue fighting, because you're the only voice that your son has. No one else can, besides obviously Phil, no one else can speak in reference to the legacy and what we're trying to do. And only you can tell that story. No one else can. Yes, people can bring tidbits of it, but they can't tell it the way you can. And I will tell you, I mean, I had this conversation with someone the other day on a different podcast that I was on, that I was invited to be on. It's called the Addiction Podcast, Point of No Return. It's on YouTube already.
Mhm.
And they said to me, they said, do you think that, it's the fact that they're just not listening? And I said, yes. And I also think that it's the fact that they know that we're broken. They know that we're shattered. So for them, it's kind of like, oh, let me give them some breadcrumbs. Let me pay attention to them,
Yeah.
talk to them a couple of times on Zoom, let them think we care, but then you don't hear it's radio silence for months.
And it's, when you say radio silence, right? That's there's also different things that come on, like news, and there's a silence in them, right? Because of the little quick tidbits they're doing. And you just talked about a podcast. I love podcasts because of some of the real 100% facts that are coming out of it, on a daily basis with podcasts. And I try to turn people into podcast listeners, or viewers now, because um, most podcasts have video, and you can
Right.
see it through
Yes.
YouTube. And so I'm trying to turn people in that direction, because it's real important that we start listening to people like you on podcasts, where we're not censored, we're not going through any kind of restrictions, and it's real important.
Yeah. And one of the things I say all the time, and I said it on the podcast I was just on last week, I said, listen, I will never take away the folks who have said, how can we help you? What can we do? What can we do together? I will never take away. Phil and I will never take away from that ever. We will always be there for that, because that's the respect. But what I will say is, the ones that continue to not do anything, they're going to get called out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to get called out in an actual way of where I don't have to do it, but it's when there's an event that Achieve Greatness does and they're not there. And there's a couple of events that I've done where I've invited some folks, and it's always an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people are seeing that. People are starting to see that. I don't have to sit here and give names, because you know what? They're doing it to themselves.
Yeah, they are. And, but we definitely got to keep on doing it. I was it was kind of funny when you send me hey, I got an amazing guest next week. And
Yeah, I know. And I'm like,
then
wait a minute, he's not even asking me who.
It was
I'm
it
like,
was
wow.
weird. I put my phone down and I'm talking on the phone and I'm like, and then when you responded back, I'm like, what a turkey. I totally forgot about the question. I'm like, oh my God. But
I know, because I'm looking at my phone and Phil's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm waiting for him to respond and he's not responding.
yeah, I mean, that's the honest truth. Put my phone down. I'm talking on the phone and I like totally forgot it. I mean, once you click on it, it's not highlighted anymore. So
Right.
when I look at the phone, you're like, oh, I get no messages, and then boom,
No,
call
that's
them
okay.
absent-minded reminders, and I appreciate you doing that, man.
No, that's okay. That's okay. But yeah, it was funny. I mean, if there was a camera here, you would have seen me. I was like a puppy dog that just lost the bone because I'm like looking at my phone and Phil's like, what's the matter? I said, he's not responding to me. I said, I'm not getting anything. Like, who
Yeah.
is it? What do you mean
Mhm.
I'm getting nothing? He goes, well, he's probably busy.
No,
Okay. But
yeah, it's crazy. And the craziest thing is this phone, right? I've done everything that I could do. My ringer and alerts are it's just on vibrate, and
yeah,
then sometimes it will go off, and I'm like, what's going on? Pay all this money for it. So, but it's usually user error. It's my error somewhere. I don't know what's going on. But I got to go see the geek people at Best Buy, and so they can show me what I'm doing wrong. And because when you do text me, I want to hear that name. I want to hear that tone, that vibrating. I mean that ringtone, and it's only going off occasionally. So I don't know what's going on.
yeah. Be careful how you speak, and because certain people might take it the wrong way.
Mhm.
You want the phone to vibrate when I call you. Yeah, you're, yeah. Some people might be like, okay, Charlie,
Yeah,
what are you
yeah.
serious? Yeah. So, um,
So we
but
get
yeah,
um, funniest thing is I used to have this ringtone. It was from the show Cops, and
oh yes,
so it
yes.
used to go off all the time, and that was nice. And I would know it was my phone. How many times you're in a room and everyone's got the same ringtone as you.
I know. Remember back in the day, and I say this because, of course, I'm Generation X, when we would listen to the radio and wait for a song to come on to record it so we could
Hmm.
leave our message with the music playing in the background just at the
Yeah.
right time.
Hmm.
I mean, when I tell that to the grandkids now, they look at me like I'm from another planet. They're like, "Are you serious?" Especially with Nalia, because Nalia,
Yeah.
she's 12 going on 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's and she always tells me, she says, Vovo, I don't even know why you have a phone, honestly.
Hmm.
Like, you know what?
Yeah.
Sometimes I question the same thing because
Mm.
I don't even know how to use it. But
That's
yeah, these
true.
kids today, I swear they come out of the womb knowing how to freaking use a phone and a computer, honest to God. Because
Hmm.
even Juju, the youngest, the
Yeah.
3-year-old, he
Yeah.
comes and he has an iPad and he knows how to freaking use it. And I'm like, dude, seriously?
Yeah.
I wasn't using no damn iPad at 3. I was on my grandparents' farm
Hmm.
playing with the pigs and the
Hmm.
cows and the sheep. I wasn't with no freaking
Yep.
iPad.
It's
But that's the problem, Charlie, with today's children also, is that this right here is what's killing our kids.
it's
And
a
no one thinks about that.
yeah.
But this right here is where they're getting the emojis to go get their drugs.
It's a teacher. It's a it's a teacher. It's a creature. That phone and it could really be something really really good and bad and
Yes.
ugly and
Yes.
ugly because it's you see how the attachment, the addiction to the phone and iPad, that they you know can't get it away. People can't break away from it.
Right.
Being young and being old now, there's We can't. I forget what it's called, but they actually gave it a name where you have to touch your phone.
Yeah, it's like a
I mean,
withdrawal.
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you know, and this is exactly what's killing our children, because this right here is what the drug dealers are using to send the children an emoji on Snapchat of where to come and pick up their product.
Hmm.
Or they're going into UPS, Federal Express, you know, Uber Eats. They're going into the 40,000 fake pharmaceuticals in the internet right now. That's what they're doing. I mean, Snapchat has a huge lawsuit against them right now, and the judge actually is letting it go through just this week. There was a huge article about it where it was in front of an appellate judge, and the judge said, nope, this can absolutely go through. We're going to
Hmm.
move this along. So Snapchat's being sued because there's parents like myself who brought forth this lawsuit against Snapchat because of the fact of that's where the kids are getting the emojis. That's where they're coming from. You know, but then let's talk about how you and we can be doing this podcast and I'll get a delivery from UPS, FedEx, my local post office, and my drugs were just delivered.
Hmm.
And you wouldn't know that.
No.
So
No.
this right here is a weapon. That's what this has become. This has become a weapon for our young youth. When we have the number one killer is fentanyl in 18 to 45 across the United States, more than cancer, more than a car accident, more than anything that is occurring, more than even gun violence. And now you have the statistics of 12 to 17 being the number one killer. I mean,
Yeah.
are we waiting for it to be 500 a day? Are we waiting for it to be hit a million?
Mm.
Because we've surpassed 9/11 more than one time over. I mean,
Yeah.
last year, as you know, we had 107,000. This year, it's going to surpass that.
Yeah. Yep. It's there was I won't even be able to find it. There's an article where it shows it shows how a dealer could make their own homemade machine and
Yes.
produce I want to say 90,000 pills
Yes.
and
Yes.
I don't know if it's within an hour or something, but it's something real rapid, and but it's out there. It's kind of, hey, do it yourself. Here you go. You get this, get that, and
Yes.
you get 70,000 pills in an hour or whatever it was. Just
Correct.
paraphrasing right now.
But
For
that's what
certain,
happened here in New Bedford, where the
yeah,
person was making their own pills.
yeah,
They were manufacturing it in their home. So again, when people think that this is not happening or it can't happen in your backyard, well, it did. And this is now the fourth bust that we have had in the city. And those are just the ones we know of.
yeah, definitely. The people local, definitely not the high the highest person on the totem pole. So if they're producing that much, could you imagine what the person just above them is producing?
Yeah,
It's amazing.
exactly.
The
And you know, and then there's no accountability. That's the other problem. The problem is that you have those folks in law enforcement, whether it's the DEA, FBI, they will sit here and they will say to you, we cannot arrest our way out of this. We just can't, because they were not expecting this. They were not expecting the tsunami that has hit. But at the same time, all you continue to hear about is the big catches, as I call them. You continue to hear about like what happened in Massachusetts a month ago in Lynn, where it was enough fentanyl to kill every single person in our state. But what about the person at the street corner that just gave it to Susie and now Susie has passed away?
hmm
What about him? Why is he
Yeah,
walking the streets free?
yeah,
Because he should be behind a prison cell, because he just intentionally killed Susie. He gave her a product that he knew was laced. She did not. She is now gone. Her family is dealing with the devastating grief, and he's walking the streets free. So how is that making any sense. And I know, because I have a mom who I speak to, and I have asked her to come on the podcast. She was a sergeant for the Chicago Police Department. She retired after almost 30 years. And she also lost her daughter to fentanyl poisoning, unfortunately. And she says it. She says, Paula, the reason that they tell you what they tell you, I was a police officer, I know this. They don't want to do the paperwork. They don't want to go back and do the paperwork that's required when you turn around and say that this was a murder.
Yeah, and it's
And you know that, Charlie, because you were in law enforcement.
yeah, it's sad. But there's this called a broken window or broken glass theory, where you try to clean up an area, and you work on things as little as a broken window or a small time offense, and that's how you clean it up. You just work from the ground level, from the littlest offense to the biggest offense, and that's how you clean things up. They know you're going to do something, and that's how you do it. That person, like you said, on the corner. Guess what? You have to go through it. You have to go through the prosecution, because you killed someone,
Mm-hmm.
and that needs to happen. But I don't know. We kind of, you and I, preaching to the choir, but I hope there's someone out there that's listening to us.
Well, I don't think we're preaching to the choir. I think what we're doing is something that's needed. We're going to continue to do this. We're going to continue to have amazing guests. 2024, we're going to blow the roof off. Achieve Greatness has a lot going on. As you know, every month we have an event happening with also your support as an advisor. We are hoping to continue to grow, hoping to continue to do things for the kids in our community and in the Commonwealth, doing a lot of basketball events that are coming up. And again, I say this all the time, we need the support of the community. We cannot do this alone. The United Way has many programs. The YMCA has programs. The YWCA has programs. Guess what? They're not doing it alone.
Mm-hmm.
They have community partnerships. They have platforms that they have been able to elevate. And this is exactly what Achieve Greatness is looking to also do. We have partnered with many of the agencies I just said to you, including PACA, the New Bedford Health Department, High Point, many of those. But at the same time, when you say that you want to start a coalition and you want to partner and collaborate, well, then you need to do what you say. Because you can't say that you want to collaborate and bring forth social change, but then not bring the action that comes with it.
Exactly. Yeah,
and we have our dinner coming up, as you know, March 9th at the Century House, our first annual fundraising dinner. We have partnered with an amazing person who his organization, his company deals with sports memorabilia. So we will have a lot of great stuff, whether it's Michael Jordan, Jason Tatum, Kobe Bryant. I mean, you name it, from every type of sport, this person has it. And this is going to be for the silent auction. He is very reputable. He's very good at what he does, him and his organization. They've been doing this for many, many years. They've done a lot of events with Patriots, Bruins, Red Sox, all of them in reference to the sports. So they're, we vetted them and they are exactly who they say they are. And plus, as you know, we have Joaquin Santos, who's going to be playing, DJ Fresco, also the entertainment for the night. And I'm inviting some of our local legislators, to also come. I don't know if they will, but the invitation will be extended.
Yes. It's I can't wait. Can't wait for that night. And we also have the ad book. If you want to place an ad in the book,
correct.
That's definitely available, and we'll get that out there and kind of blast it through social media and emails and every way we can.
Yeah, because that's important. Because I mean, how good is it if you're a corporation here in our community, whether it's New Bedford, Dartmouth, Taunton, Fairhaven, Marion, Wareham, wherever, Mattapoisett, and you're an organization and you say, I want to put this, I want to be a sponsor. I want my name on the book, but I want you to put me out there also on the backdrop because I want
Mm,
people to know that we support this.
yeah.
That's going to elevate a corporation and a company.
Hmm.
And for you, for organizations out there and corporations, how could you not want to be behind this?
So true. I I just can't wait. I can't wait to have that conversation with everyone in that room. Have a good time, uh, and really get this organization out there. And you talked about that how we have, the United Way has partnerships. Well, this is how we form some partnerships that night, and reach out to people or people reaching out to us on a given night where we're just talking throughout that night, and then by the end of the night, we're saying, "Wow, it's all over. It went too quick," you
Right.
know. Um,
Yes.
but at least we established some kind of relationship, communication, where the next day or the next week, now we can have some conversations for a whole hour, and talk some real facts about fentanyl and all the opioid poisonings that are going out there. Um, so,
Yes.
all right, Paula. I'm gonna take what you send me, and I'm gonna reduce it to a size where it can be visible on the screen. I'll do that, and like I said, I'm gonna create a reel about our next week's guest, and can't wait. Do this again.
Yes. And I will send you the information on the sponsorships. So when you're speaking to people, if they want to be in the book, as you know, because you're helping me with this, they'll
Hmm.
know the levels.
Yeah, yeah, real important. Um, and let's fill up that book. What we got? 200 pages, right?
Yes. Yes.
So it's let's fill it up. You know, um, Probably the first quarter of the book is going to say a few things, right? Introductions to different things, who's going to be there. But guess what? After that, it's ad after ad, and we got to fill it up because
Correct.
it's very, very important that we do that. Um, all right, Paula. We'll talk as
Yes.
soon as tomorrow, and we can, let's keep up the good work, and please pass on my blessings to you and the family, um, and your father-in-law, and I hope things are getting better.
Thank you. Appreciate
All
that.
right.
You have a
Yes,
good rest of your week, and we will see you next Wednesday. And I'm sure you and I will touch base prior to that.
of course, of course. All right, y'all the best. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is the Really Charlie podcast with my co-host Paula Young. Fentanyl and facts, facts and stories, wherever you want to put it. It all depends who's coming on. You tell me a story, fine, tell me a story, and share some facts with us every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We are here. We are here on YouTube, also on the Really Charlie um, Facebook group. We're trying to add ourselves to Twitch, which we had some comments last week, and we're just trying to show and improve. And we got a comment. I want to answer that real quick. All right, it says good night, Christy. Thank you for your constant support. We really appreciate you. You've been here for the past month, commenting, and I appreciate you. All right. Well, I'm going to end this beautiful podcast with this beautiful song from my friend Lionel Peter Walker. He is a great man doing some great things. And so, all right, Paula, next Wednesday, big hugs to you and your teddy bear at home. Tell him I love him. And if you need me, give me a holler.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bumping through your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bumping through your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass.